Bloodbowl by Matt Forbeck. Edited for audio and dramatized by Luke Mason. Chapter 2. Hi there, sports fans, and welcome to Bloodbowl for tonight's contest. You join us here with a capacity crowd packed with members of every race from across the known world, all howling like banshees in anticipation for tonight's game. Oh, and yes, there are some banshees here as well. Kick off in a few moments' time, so we've just got some time to go over to your commentator for tonight, Jim Johnson, for a recap on the rules of the game before battle commences. Good evening, Jim.
Thank you, Bob. Well, good evening, and boy, are you folks in for some great sporting entertainment. First of all, though, for those of you at home who are unfamiliar with the rules, here's how the game is played. Bloodbowl is an epic conflict between two teams of heavily armed and quite insane warriors. Players pass, throw, and run with the ball, attempting to get it to the other end of the field. The end zone. Of course, the other team must try and stop them and recover the ball for their side. If a team gets the ball over the line into the opponent's end zone, it's called a touchdown! The team that scores the most touchdowns by the end of the match wins the game. Of course, it's not always quite as simple as that.
Hello! I was hoping that it would be you again. You're a hard man to catch up to. It's good to see you again, son. I was afraid you'd gotten away from me. You're not after me too, are you? I don't think so. At least not for killing Dorchan's murderous town mascot. That thing needed to be shown the door a long time ago. Bacon? My undying thanks. I've already eaten, of course, but there's always room for bacon. When you're on the road like this, you never know when you might be able to eat well again. So I prefer to travel like a camel, with what I need most already inside of me. Right, well, what is it you want? More suspicious already. I like that. You know, I saw you yesterday in the inn. I thought about warning you about the creature in the cave, but I could see wouldn't have done any good. You were bent on killing that dragon you'd been hunting for, and little things like the truth weren't going to get in your way. Hey, now hang on. Oh, don't think bad of yourself for it. I've seen this happen lots of times before. You're a young man. You have something to prove. You think you can make yourself into a hero. You think other people will respond to that and treat you with courtesy and respect, adoration, even love. But it just doesn't work that way, son. How can you be so sure? Because I've been there. You were a hero. Did you slay many dragons? Now see here. It's not all about killing giant flying lizards now, is it? Not all heroes are murderers, you know. I'm sorry. Don't fret about it, son. People make that sort of mistake about me all the time. They think just because I'm a halfling, I can't make any sort of contribution to society, other than keeping any plate in front of me clean. But I gave up all that hero nonsense a long time ago. Nonsense? What's wrong with being a hero? Oh, nothing. If you don't mind a life filled with poverty, fear, and death. Most folks prefer the status quo, even if they're reliving next door to a monster that might make off with their children at any moment. Sure, it's a horrible thing, but who knows what else worse might be out there. Better the demon you know. I can't believe that. Can people really be so cynical? What about improving your lot and that of your neighbours? Like you did in Dorchan today? You saw how grateful they were about that. You're lucky you got out when you did. When old Gaswit told the townsfolk I'd given you that spear, they nearly lynched me on the spot. If the chimera hadn't gotten up and bitten the baker nearly in half at that point, I think they'd have had me. The creature killed someone. He wouldn't have, of course, if they hadn't freed him. They did what? The fools freed him. The priest gathered together a group of men, and they went out to where the thing was staked down and pulled the spear out. They thought they could get the creature back to its cave and heal it up so it could protect them from the power vacuum you were bent on creating. And it repaid them by killing the baker. He wasn't much of a man, a bit too slow of foot for one, which is what did him in, but he made the best pies in the Reichland. It makes my point though, you see. Being a hero is a sucker's game. Now Bloodbowl, that is a game. I detest it. Hate it? How can you hate it? It's the greatest thing to happen to sport ever. Maybe even to civilization itself. Or it's the worst. It's a bunch of thugs standing toe to toe and beating each other mercilessly for the enjoyment of others. The football is only a pretext for the violence. They might as well smash it flat and be honest about how the bloodshed is the only thing that keeps people coming back. I actually saw that happen once. In an Orkland Raiders game, they were playing the Oldhammer ogres, and the ogres forgot they were in the middle of a match. The Raiders lost 5 players before the referees got things under control again. That's horrible. Hey, son, you're the one that wants to be the hero. How do you think most heroes make their names around here? They kill things. Sometimes they kill monsters, other times it's their own kind. At least on the Bloodbowl pitch, there are rules that no one pays any attention to. I've seen bar brawls with more respect for life. You're confusing the rules with lives. Hitting someone hard in the middle of a match isn't just legal, it's encouraged. If you can knock a foe out of the game, so much the better for you and your team. But the players cheat all the time. Oh, that's all part of the game. It's only cheating if you get caught. Then there are penalties. If you haven't paid off the referees, the other team can always try to buy the refs too. It all balances out in the end. It's all about murderous greed and filthy gold. And mindless violence. Don't forget the mindless violence. Exactly. It's just like real life, only more so. It's brilliant. The best part about it is that you're perfect for it. What are you babbling on about? Well, think about it. You're young, strong, and obviously trained for a battle. You'd be wonderful at it. You're talking madness. Am I? I watched you fight that chimera. I saw you throw that spear straight down its gullet. You're a natural thrower, if ever I've seen one. The best I've ever seen. I swear in Nuffle's name. Nuffle? The god of Bloodbowl? As revealed to us in the sacred texts handed down by the first sacred commissioner, Roselle. That god means nothing to me. Then you're just going to have to trust me. You're an agent. No one trusts an agent. Not bad. You're not as clean-cut ignorant as you come off. But then again, no one could be, right? Is that why you followed me here? To recruit me into playing Bloodbowl? I'll come clean with you, son. The answer is yes. I didn't come to Dorchin looking for you. I wasn't looking for anyone in particular. Just looking for someone special. If you know what I mean. There's a team I work with that's desperate for some new blood, including a good thrower. The Bad Bay Hackers. I don't recognise the name. I thought you didn't follow the game. I hate the game, but that doesn't mean I can get away from it. Well said. Anyhow, these guys are from just north of Marienburg, and they're a group of up-and-comers. Just the hungry sort that require the services of someone like me. How's that? You don't look like much of a player. Hardly, son, but I can find them players. Fresh blood from the corners of the world they don't know much about yet. Sure, they could trade for better players, but they'd have to give up their own talent. What there is of it, for that. Better to go out and find some raw rookies and mould them into the kind of players they need. That's where you come in. Forget it. But son, it's everything you want. Gold and glory. This is the way heroes are made these days. I am not interested. Let me ask you a question. Do you know who Grimwald Grimbreath is? Captain of the Dwarf Giants. Hubris Rakarth. The Darkside Cowboys. Hugo von Irongrad. The Impaler. He's with the Champions of Death. Schlitz Multi-Liquor. The Chaos All-Star. What's the point of all this? Name me the last person to kill a dragon in the last 5 years. The last 10! There was a dragon terrorising the Border Princes, Blaze-Belly the Devourer. But who killed him? I've got no idea. Gold and glory, son. If you want it, the best way is by playing Bloodbowl. And I can help. I know all about the Hoffnung, son. I know all about your family's downfall, and what part you played in it. How? I'm always on the lookout for new talent, son. Sometimes recruiting players means having some leverage on them, including blackmail. I prefer strategic bargaining position. Oh, all right, I'll do it, on one condition. What's that? Tell me, who killed Blaze-Belly the Devourer? No one, son. He killed all comers. Morning, son. You looked so peaceful there, I didn't want to wake you. So you just pillaged my saddlebags instead? I prefer to think of it as sharing. After all, we're going to be spending a lot of time together. I thought you were supposed to be making me rich and famous. You expect a lot overnight. I like high aspirations. I have them for myself. Before we go too much further down this road, I have some questions. Of course, son. I'd be surprised if you didn't. First, what are you paid? Right, gold before glory it is then. That's an easy one. You don't pay me a thing. You'll be my agent out the goodness of your heart? In a sense, yes. More to the point, I handle all negotiations and collections of your remuneration. When you are paid, I take a small and reasonable percentage for myself off the top and pass on the vast bulk of your earnings to you entirely untouched. And how much of a percentage am I to pay you? Son, with my experience and expertise, I'll make you so much more money than you'd make on your own that it's more like your employers end up paying me to help you. Uh-huh. How much? 10%? Before you object, I'll have you know that's entirely reasonable. Some of the other agents in the business charge up to half as much again for half the service. That's fine. Next, where are we going? Again, an easy one. We're off to Magritta, where the upcoming Spike Magazine tournament is to be held the end of the month. Margarita? I thought you said the hackers were from Bab Bay. They are, and that's where I've just come from. Pegleg himself is desperate for new players, so I've been trailing along in their wake, looking for just the right person. Lucky me. Who's Pegleg? Captain Pegleg Hacken is the team's coach, an ex-pirate who lost both a leg and a hand at sea. Sounds like a tough customer. You'd have to ask the sea creature that ate those missing parts. So why Magritta? The hackers need new players, and that's where they're holding their tryouts. Isn't that cutting a bit close to the time of the tournament? Welcome to the world of Bloodbowl, son. More teams lose out at tournaments from a lack of healthy players than on the pitch. They're disqualified before they face even their first opponent. You're only allowed 16 players on the roster, but you need to be able to put at least 11 players on the field. That doesn't leave much room for error, given the injury rates in this game. Just how dangerous is this? Haven't you ever seen a game? Most of what I know comes from my little brother, Dirk. He always loved Bloodbowl. Well, good on him then. I don't want to lie to you, son. This is a dangerous game. People get maimed or killed all the time. It's part of the sport. I knew I didn't like it for a reason. Don't worry about it, son. A brave lad like you can handle it. It's not any more dangerous than poking around in a chimera's lair by yourself. I wasn't too fond about how that worked out either. Golden glory! You won't find that in a cave. So where to from here? Straight for Bordeloo, right on the shore of the Great Western Ocean. Pegleg took the hackers by sea to Margarita, sailing through the Middle Sea and down around Bretonia and Estalia to where Margarita sits on the Southern Sea. If we hustle, we can meet the boat at Bordeloo and hitch a ride for the rest of the journey. And if we miss them? Best not to let such issues arise. Are we there yet? Not quite. I've gotten you to the big city. Isn't that enough? I thought we were heading for Margarita. There's time enough for that, son. We may have a few more days yet before the sea chariot arrives. Possibly a week or more. Or we might not. I'd rather we got to the docks and asked after the ship before we settled in somewhere. Of course, but there's little chance they beat us here. They would have had to have burnt beef. What's wrong? They are here. They must have found a tailwind straight from the realms of chaos. You see that cutter ship there? The one with the green and gold flag? It's the hackers, all right. It looks like they're getting ready to set sail. Then we had best get a move on. Go on without me! I'll catch up!